look at all these kilties. You know, we originally started selling our kilties in limited sizes and our 4 or 5 standard leathers, but they're so popular and people are always asking us for more specialty leathers that other brands use. They come in all of our different sizes, our fringe kilties and our no-show kilties from 6-inch all the way up to 10-inch, and even some quarter-bin no-show kilties. So check them out below, protect your investment. So we did a video on this boot a couple months ago and it got like 500,000 views. It got demonetized. Soon after that, it got age restricted and now it's just wiped off the face of the earth.
Oh yeah, it was a trench foot.
For whatever reason, when it comes to history,
it's almost like YouTube censors everything. Honestly, sometimes I get afraid of talking bad about YouTube. It's like, what if they have something that tags people that are complaining about YouTube and they're gonna de-rank me? That's how uncomfortable I am with relying on YouTube as a career. That's why we do collaborations, because YouTube is completely unreliable. Anybody that's trying to make a career off YouTube, good luck. You can't do it just off the YouTube videos. It's way too unpredictable. So that's why we do collaborations. That's a huge help of like how we can cut apart brand new stuff every single week. Cause Sam cuts a pair of skate shoes every week. Sometimes it's like 5 or 10. I cut a pair of boots and I cut a pair of sneakers every single week. So that's on some weeks, it's over $1,000 a week of just the product cost of us destroying it. You'll look at the labor on top of that. My labor, Sam's labor, the editor's labor, they're really costly and you just can't rely on YouTube. They literally demonetize your videos because it's got like a foot in it the wrong way. Back in the COVID days, they would, if you even said the word COVID, they'd just erase you off the face of the earth. A big part of why we do collaborations because it's just, you just can't rely on YouTube to make a living. And so, what is this? Well, one of these is not the collaboration. Actually, 2 of them might not. There might be 2 of these that are not the collaboration. So let's try this one first. So who is Caswell? Or Jaron says it Caswell, I say it Caswell. I don't know what the actual pronunciation is. I just lost another button. All right, I did this unboxing of this jacket. I've lost 2 buttons in one day and I just lost this one on camera. You gotta figure out how to rivet your buttons on or just get better rivets. You can see it just wasn't set. See how that is not really squished much? It didn't set fully. It didn't get fully pressed in there. See, like when it's all the way through, see how that's not like mushroomed out or anything? Should we see how long it takes to pop? Oh, that's bad, guys. That one's on there pretty good. I'm not even pulling that hard either. Oh my gosh, and I like this jacket. I might have to remove that ad, actually. Nope, that one didn't stay on either. We're all over the place in this video. Complaining about YouTube, complaining about this really cool jacket I just got that's garbage quality. So looks like 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buttons. 1 out of the 7 buttons stayed on. And that one's on there pretty good. Should we see how much pressure it takes to pull off though? Or if it rips through? Yeah, that's on there pretty good. I could probably rip it through, but I'm not gonna button this jacket up much anyway. I wouldn't recommend buying it though after that. So we might have to remove that ad from the video and give them their money back. That's so bad. Anyway, off to a great start. What was I saying? 2 of these are not the collaboration, I think, and I think 1 is. Who's Caswell or Caswell? They are a very small brand. It's ran by Kevin. Kevin's the coolest dude of all time. He's so nice. I think he's got a 1 or 2 person crew that kind of helps, but I think for the most part, it's all him. I can't remember if he actually has somebody that helps with customer service. And obviously he contracts out the factory to build his boots for him. And he's really started to build a name for himself by using really unique leathers and honestly kind of doing what Truman did, but maybe a little bit more affordable and not Truman. But, and that's kind of what Caswell does is pretty unique products, pretty unique leathers to make their products kind of stand out amongst all the other products out there. So let's see what this one is. Now that we've complained about literally everything on the planet. It's Rose Anvil 2, that's what we're here for. Okay, good, it's not the collaboration. Yeah, see what I mean? Look at this leather. That stuff is crazy. It's so like veiny and like, look at that. I've never actually seen, cause I think that is actually the veins. Cause this is the flesh side of the leather. I think that's the actual veins. It might just be wrinkling actually. But you've seen like the CF Stead has those like little veins in them. I think it's actually the veins, but I'm not gonna put my reputation on the line to say that they're veins, but they look like veins. Is this Stridewise's pig leather? I don't think it is. Stone Rambler, no. It just kind of has that same feel and that grittiness of the bad leather goods. Vibram outsole. It's got the leather. This is actually interesting because we did it. What was the video? It was the Vince. I remember his name. Vince at Truman and somebody else were saying that, oh, it doesn't have a midsole. It's only got an outsole. And after I did the video, I was like, I feel like it's got a midsole. There's a middle layer of leather there. And people in the comments were like, well, technically, since it's a half sole, a lot of people consider that an outsole as well. So depending on how you define it yourself, and I don't think it really matters. I call it a midsole because it's in the middle of the sole and the insole, but I don't think anyone's gonna have a temper tantrum about it. But that's what's going on in this boot. You got the half sole Vibrams, full leather heel stack. I like these welts that kind of creep up the sidewall. Sometimes people call them storm welts, some people call them split welts. There's a lot of different ways that people describe them. That's a good looking little boot. Let's see, what's in box number 2? This one has another label on it, so I'm assuming that this is not the collaboration. The Lisbon stitched down overdyed cognac horsebuck. Ooh, those are nice looking bags. Look at that. Yeah, you look, it's hand signed. You can smear the ink. Nice, Kev. I love Kevin. Big Kev. Okay, let's check them out. That's some tight bison too. Some of the bison we use, like in our blood bison, is a really shrunken bison where they intentionally shrink the leather to get it more pebbly. This is more, I don't know if it is stretched or if it's just not as shrunken, but it has that effect that it doesn't look quite as shrunken as the other bison. It looks so pretty though. I love bison leather. Some people don't like it because it can be a little inconsistent from hide to hide or panel to panel. I'm like, it's leather. This is not a man-made rubber. This is the skin of an animal that lived a life. Cut them some slack. Yeah, look at all that pebbling. It's so pretty. I like the way that like the striations go across the toe. And look at the pull-up. I guarantee this has pull-up because you can see the little color variation in the crevices there. Watch this. Oh. That's some pull-up. Look at that. That is pull-up. I'm gonna do another one right here for you. Woo! Dang. Isn't that cool? That is a high pull-up, high contrast pull-up too. Let's see if it rubs back in. Yeah, you can get it to go back. Cool. 270-degree stitch down construction instead of Goodyear welt. Looks like this, actually, is it? It's such a tight little stitch down. I honestly can't tell. Yeah, it's stitched down. If I pull that away, there's no gap there. So it's not a separate welt, which means it's the upper that's flared out, which means it's a stitch down. Double row, 270 degrees, so the heel is nailed on. See the little brass nails through there. The Caswell branded Day-Night clone, essentially. It's not a Day-Night outsole, it's modeled after the Day-Night. Really good stitching though, for a fairly affordable boot. Caswell's very impressive. They have some name in the industry for sure. There's a lot of people that are sleeping on them. So let's see how much these boots cost. Let's see what he's got for new releases actually first. Little lace to toe. Oh, right there. The Lisbon stitch down overdyed cognac. So $490. So still, like full stitch down construction, full leather construction, still under 500 bucks. It's pretty impressive, especially for a small brand. I don't think it's a crazy deal. It's screaming that this is the price of Red Wing, but the quality of whites. I think it's a good boot for the price, and it's a good value for the price. And I think there's a lot of boots out there that are around this price that are not as good as this boot. This leather is produced through a specialized combination of adding Cubarco and Mimosa within the vegetable tanning processes. During the coloring and retanning stages, it is infused with wax and oils. Subsequently, this leather is toggle dried, roll waxed, and bright rolled to achieve a flawless luster. That's a lot of tannery terms. So breaking that down, as far as I can understand it, added some mimosa within the vegetable tanning process. So added some extra additives into the end. I think, is it mimosa a tree? Yeah, it's a acacia tree, DMT. So they add a couple extra tanning compounds in there that are still derived from like vegetable tanning, which is usually from tree bark. Re-tanning stages, because it's a chrome tan, so you tan it initially as chrome tan, and then you re-tan it with vegetable tanning compounds like the Cubarco and the mimosa. It is infused with wax and oil, which is basically hot stuffing, where they take the leather and they just stuff as much wax and oil in there as possible. Then it is toggle dried, which I believe toggle dried is when they have the little clips you've probably seen with Seidel's web on their social media. They have the little clips and they pull it and stretch it. And so rather than a shrunken process, they stretch it. And I think I'm pretty sure that's what they mean by toggle dried. Roll waxed and bright rolled to achieve a flawless luster. I believe roll waxed means one more process just to put one top layer of wax on top, and that's where you get a lot of that really heavy, heavy pull-up. If there wasn't that top wax, this leather would be a little lighter and you still have that color underneath, but with that roll wax on top, it just gives it a little bit darker. It's like if you put a coat of oil on your boots, how much it darkens it. Same thing with that. And then the last term that we're trying to break down, flawless luster. Oh, and bright rolled to achieve a flawless luster. I believe bright rolling is probably like jack glazing. You've seen where there's that big arm that has a cylinder of glass at the end. It pushes down with a lot of pressure and pulls back, and it's like scraping the leather with that glass roll, and that shines the leather. It's basically burnishing the leather. That's my best guess. Each tannery has like their own terminology and the ways they do things and what's right and what's wrong and you know, all that stuff. That's my best guess of what this is. Oh, it's made by Gallum, which is a very small tannery. Super cool. They're the ones that did the pig leather for Stridewise. Okay, that's a good looking boot. I like that pull up. Now to the main event. I haven't seen it. This boot has been in the shop for like a month and a half and I haven't seen it yet. It's been driving me nuts. I just haven't been able to do this video. It's been a busy year. I've been busy. So why was I playing that random video in the beginning? One, because I forgot that they actually demonetized that video and we had to re-upload it and everything. But that video was how long ago? September 17th, 2023. So 2.5 years ago, we cut apart the World War I US military boot. And afterwards, everyone's like, make that boot, do a collaboration on that boot. And we played a little bit with maybe Nick's doing it, and they've just been so busy. They've got a lot going on with that Nick's. And who knows, we still could do this with Nick's in the future, but Caswell was ready. You know, they're a little cheaper than Nick's and completely different construction techniques. You know, like Nick's is a work boot through and through. You can dress them up, but they're very work boot DNA. Caswell is a lot more dress, more casual, more heritage boot DNA. And so it actually ends up being an okay substitution. Because you could see like, maybe a Nick's version is super over the top, even more durable than the originals. This is gonna be a little bit more true to the original. And I'm dying to see it, so let's do it. Okay. Oh, dang, look at that. Oh my gosh. That thing is so sick. See what I mean? Like it works a little bit better and it's probably a little closer to the original, not on a Pacific Northwest style. Oh my gosh, look at this. I love it. Cause this is what I really, really like about this pattern. This counter is one single piece. So see the counter starts here, one single piece is the backstay, wraps around. That's not a seam there, that's just a stitch line to lock in the counter back here and lock in this area. And then instead of this coming down like this, like a regular boot, this counter runs all the way to the end of this quarter panel and then drops back down so you still have room for your big toe knuckle and your pinky toe knuckle. And then you'd think it maybe stops, but you wrap around. Exact same thing on this side. Lock the counter in, support the arch. So it's very similar to the Bear Slayers actually. The first Bear Slayers did this actually, I forgot. The very first Bear Slayer was a spin off of this boot. And Bear Slayers are probably the most original design that we've come up with. Most of the other collaborations are, oh, let's just take this piece, that piece, that piece. You know, like with Nick's, we do like lineman patch, toe cap, this. Everything that you already have existing, throw it on there. But with the Bear Slayers, we had to buy a bunch of new dies. It was a fairly new pattern, and they adjusted the pattern to match what they're doing. But it's definitely the most original P&W boot that I've been involved in, and it's because it was spawned from this boot that I loved so much. I just think it's very utility based because you have one piece of leather. It's very like aesthetically pleasing because I just like that like cross line there. It all kind of lines up well, and it's distinct and unique. Oh, it's so cool. And we don't really have the deal done for sure, but there's a good chance that we're gonna be releasing these with a new tannery that you probably have not seen many boots, if any boots at all, made out of. Herman Oak, one of the oldest tanneries in the United States, doing vegetable tan leather. My very first hide I ever bought, I still have it over there actually, is a Herman Oak bridle side. And I was like, this stuff is hardy. You know, it's just like thick. I was like, dang, this is like some actual tack leather. And so I've been a fan of Herman Oak the whole time, but it's veg tan. It's very expensive. It's very old school. It takes a long time to tan it. Horween has some really long tanning processes. Seidel has some long tanning processes, but the majority of what Seidel makes and Horween makes is a lot faster than a vegetable tanning process. All like the Wicked and Craig, Herman Oak, they mostly, I think almost exclusively, if not exclusively, make vegetable tan leather. And that is a much longer process. So it's a lot more expensive. It's a lot more, the leather acts a little different. It can be stiffer. It can be a little bit more care and take a little more care and maintenance. But we might be making these in some Herman Oak leather, which I don't think anyone else has ever done. Like maybe a couple small batches, but there's never been like as far as I know, I don't think there's ever been a batch you could actually buy. So it could be cool. And so this is what I wanted to show you. So it's not gonna be a one-for-one creation, because we did that with the John Lofgren's and that was super cool. That was like probably the coolest historical project I've ever been a part of, because it was like one-for-one. And it was like made in Japan, basically made the same way they did almost 100 years ago. But that's, it's like $1,000 and we can only do 100 of them. And it's just, it's a certain process and it's a cool project, but a lot of people are like, hey,
make a like a more tame version of that. Put a rubber outsole on there. Make it a little less like insane. And we might do that for round 2. Who knows? But with this one, I was like, you know, I don't think we have to go true traditional. I don't think we have to match it part for part. So right off the bat, you can see rubber outsole instead of leather outsole. No hobnails. Still has a half sole, but there's a couple of weird elements.
A high leather slip sole that's tapered down.
So full length leather midsole, got that. But it doesn't have the like kind of lineman shank because you don't need it. You know, these are casual, more like slightly more dressier boots.
It has 4 layers of leather in the heel stack, and it has
2
this leather
for us.
half on the forefoot with all the
Rubber half
hobnails and the
sole.
nails going to the inside. Which, if you look at all these hobnails, you can only imagine with.
It's very close to the original in the patterning and the look and the aesthetic. Oh, I just got oil on it. Sorry, Kevin. I didn't mean to do that. I think, or no, maybe I'm gonna blame it on someone else. Just kidding. So yeah, the pattern is really close, but I didn't want to make a boot worse by making it as true to the original. And so that's why we decided to do it more modern in that way. Then on the inside, you have to wait for the full cut in half to see what's what. But on the inside, you can see half sock liner down in there, a little bit of foam underneath of it, and the full length veg tan insole. Dang, these are sick. So I think that's pretty much where we need to be right now. You know, I don't think this is the Herman Oak leather. I think it's just some basic leather. That's, you know, it's pretty leather, but this will kind of give you an idea of what that Herman Oak might look like if we get that deal done with them. And it's a fairly, I like this last. What is this last called? Morrison last or something? I like this last that he has it on. So that's pretty much it, at least it for now. So the next unboxing of this, you're probably gonna see the actual Herman Oak leather, which is gonna be really, really cool. So thank you guys for watching. So get on that limited edition email list if you want early access, because we're gonna do small quantities of these. It's a unique pattern, it's small, it's new with Herman Oak leather. There's a lot of variables, so we're gonna start with a small batch and then maybe do a bigger batch if it sells out, and maybe we don't, you know, it's hard to say. But either way, small batches, so you wanna be on that limited edition email list. We're also gonna send you the sizing guide, we're gonna send you all the specs, everything you need to know. But the most important thing is you get that early access, because if there's only a handful of these available and you're not on the early access list, you have to wait until the launch of the video at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, and by then, sometimes the collaborations are sold out. So check that out below. I'll link that World War I main video below as well. And let me know what you think, because it's, you know, it's just a really cool, fun project. And I think there's a lot of ways we could go with this in the future. I think there's a couple spin-offs we could do that are, you know, not quite as dressy, maybe make it a little bit more rugged, who knows? I just love the pattern. I just love it. I think it's so sick. That's why I literally designed the entire Bear Slayer around this concept. So thank you guys, appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the collaborations. Huge shout out to Caswell for being willing to do this project with me. And that's it. See ya.